It started with a glance. Just one fleeting moment, captured in a split second that no one thought would mean anything. But if you look closely, if you slow the frame down, you'll see it. The way his eyes softened. The way hers lingered just a little too long. It was supposed to be just another industry event. Just another night where stars posed for cameras, smiled for fans, and went home to their separate lives. But for Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo, that night would mark the first chapter of a story no one saw coming. And now, years later, fans are wondering, did we witness the start of a love story hiding in plain sight? Before we uncover the full timeline, the secret meetings, the rumored vacations, the unexpected public slips, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because the moment you think you've heard it all, another chapter in their story always seems to unfold. And trust me, you won't want to miss the next twist. The first time they were photographed together, it wasn't even at a drama set. They hadn't worked together, they weren't linked by a project, and yet somehow, fate found a way to put them in the same frame. It was a luxury fashion show in Seoul. Rows of the most famous faces in South Korea lined the venue, but when the cameras panned over, it was Lee Min-ho seated just 2 seats away from Song Hye Kyo that caught everyone's attention. The interaction was minimal. Polite nods, a shared laugh at something whispered by a mutual friend. But in those few seconds, fans began to wonder. Months passed. Both were wrapped up in their own projects. Min-ho was busy filming, his schedule packed with international promotions. Hye Kyo had just returned from an overseas shoot, keeping a low profile as she often did between roles. There was nothing to link them, until a small, seemingly insignificant detail emerged. A fan spotted the two of them boarding the same flight from Incheon to Tokyo. Different departure times? No, same plane, same destination. They weren't seated together, and yet, the timing felt too perfect. Industry insiders whispered that they were attending separate brand events in Japan. But those who saw them arriving at the airport couldn't shake the feeling there was more to the story. By the following year, subtle signs began to add up. Social media posts taken miles apart. Yet the background lighting, the quiet cafes, the muted hotel interiors, looked eerily similar. Sharp-eyed fans noticed matching accessories. A silver bracelet seen on Min-ho during a live stream, and days later, on Hye Kyo's wrist in a behind-the-scenes snapshot. Coincidence? Perhaps. But if you've been in this industry long enough, you know coincidences have a way of becoming patterns. The timeline grew more intriguing when, without warning, the two were announced as co-presenters for a major awards show. It was a pairing no one expected. They had never starred in the same drama, never appeared on the same variety program. Yet here they were, walking onto the stage together as if the universe had been saving that moment. The chemistry was instant. Min-ho, always charismatic but reserved in formal settings, seemed uncharacteristically warm, leaning slightly toward her, listening intently as she spoke. Hye Kyo, graceful and composed, let her guard down just enough for a playful smile to escape. The audience noticed. The internet noticed. And just like that, the first wave of dating rumors hit. Of course, both denied it. Through their agencies, the same careful phrasing appeared. They are simply colleagues and friends. It was almost too identical. Word for word, a rehearsed statement meant to put the rumors to rest. But if the goal was to stop speculation, it had the opposite effect. Fans began tracking their movements, piecing together every public and private sighting like fragments of a hidden puzzle. Then came the winter retreat rumor. An anonymous post claimed to have seen them together in Switzerland, bundled in coats, sharing coffee by a lakeside. No photos, just a detailed description of clothing, posture, and the way Min-ho's hand rested gently on her back as they walked. Skeptics dismissed it immediately. But weeks later, a blurry photograph emerged. Not enough to confirm identities, but enough to send the internet into chaos. Over the next year, their paths crossed more often. Not in an obvious, tabloid-friendly way, but in the quiet, almost invisible overlaps that only the most dedicated observers could detect. A charity gala in Busan where both appeared on the guest list. A private art exhibition in Paris, attended by fewer than 30 people. Yet somehow, both were there. Even in interviews, they began to slip. Min-ho was once asked about his ideal partner and described qualities, grace, strength, a quiet but captivating presence. That fans swore sounded exactly like her. Hye Kyo, when questioned about what she admired in a man, spoke of someone who understands the weight of public life, but still chooses to be kind. Neither mentioned the other by name, but the parallels were impossible to ignore. The most shocking moment came during an industry dinner. A leaked clip showed a table full of actors and directors raising glasses in celebration. In the background, Min-ho could be seen leaning in toward Hye Kyo, saying something only she could hear. She laughed, genuinely, not the polite red carpet kind of laugh, and for a brief second placed her hand over his. The clip lasted no more than 3 seconds, but it was enough. Hashtags trended for days. Every frame was analyzed, slowed down, zoomed in, debated endlessly across social media. By now, the timeline was undeniable. From their first public interaction, to shared flights, to whispered moments at industry events. It was no longer a question of if, but when they would go public. And then, without warning, the wedding rumors began. It started with a florist's post on Instagram. A collection of breathtaking white arrangements, captioned only with a heart and the date. Hours later, a luxury hotel's private ballroom was suddenly booked for an undisclosed event. Neither Min-ho nor Hye Kyo had confirmed anything, but insiders claimed the guest list included family members from both sides. The whispers grew louder. Some said it was an engagement party. Others swore it was the wedding itself, kept secret to avoid the frenzy that would follow. The morning after that mysterious date, both actors posted photos on their social media accounts. Min-ho shared a serene landscape, mountains, clouds, a hint of sunrise. Hye Kyo posted a close-up of delicate lace, the kind you might see on a bridal gown. Again, no confirmation, but the timing, perfectly aligned. Fans began to map their story as if it were a drama script. Episode 1, the fashion show glance. Episode 2, the shared flight. Episode 3, the awards show chemistry. And now the final arc, a wedding hidden in plain sight. Whether they have truly gone from co-stars to life partners, only they know for certain. But one thing is undeniable. Their timeline reads like a love story written for the screen, unfolding quietly behind the curtain of fame. And as long as they keep their silence, fans will keep searching, connecting every glance, every photo, every post, waiting for the day when they decide to tell the world themselves.